Hi everybody, Dana Sparks, Director of the Real Estate Academy of America and qualifying broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, bringing you yet another video on the changes that the Georgia Association of Realtors, or GAR, has made to the contract forms for 2023. So please check out the playlist, 2023 GAR contracts. I think that's what I have it called. And I will link some additional videos below. So check out the description below. Please take our free 3-hour continuing education class on the 2023 GAR contract changes. These are being offered in December of 2022, and we will continue those in January and February of 2023. These classes are virtual, and they are actually in person, hosted by Maximum One Realty companies throughout the state of Georgia. They are taught by our instructors, by our brokers, as well as by our some closing attorneys, our affiliated closing attorneys. So please make sure to attend those classes. But just these videos are just to give you an idea of what the changes are, bring it to your attention, and give you a sneak peek depending on when you're watching this video. I am releasing this video in December of 2022. So today's tip is I'm continuing on with follow the money and show me the money. I guess it should be show me the money. And today I want to talk about the changes that the Georgia Association of Realtors has made to the exhibit when a buyer is paying all cash or not making a contract subject to financing. So let's just dive in. So the first thing that you will notice is that GAR has changed the name of this exhibit. It used to be called the All Cash Exhibit, and it is GAR Form F401. It used to be called the, as I said, the All Cash Exhibit, and it is now, its new name for 2023 is the No Financing Exhibit. So in 2022, it was called All Cash Sale, and then in parentheses, No Financing Contingency Exhibit. What was happening, however, in the hyper-competitive market, real estate market that we experience here in Georgia in 2022, there were some contracts where the bait and switch was going on. Dana, what do you mean by the bait and switch? Well, sellers were receiving multiple simultaneous offers and having to make decisions as to which buyer's contract to choose to go to which buyer to choose for a binding contract among a multitude of offers they were receiving. And some buyers were, in the interest of competition, were portraying themselves as being all cash, and we're just trying to persuade a buyer to choose their contract over another contract with fewer contingencies. One of those contingencies that they were willing to waive was a financing contingency. Well, there were some sellers that mistakenly perhaps believed that this buyer was an all-cash buyer, when in fact this buyer was in essence still getting a loan. They were just choosing to not make the contract subject to the contingency for a loan. In other words, that buyer was willing to risk their earnest money should they not get financed. Nevertheless, there were some issues, and that did cause potential delays for a seller. And in hindsight, a seller may not have chosen that contract over another contract that truly was all cash. So basically, based on all of that and what happened in 2022, that's one of the primary reasons for GAR to have changed this exhibit F401. So let me just dive into the changes. First thing, again, they've just flat out stated no financing exhibit rather than all cash, so as not to mislead any seller. And then they've changed the method of purchase. So it used to say in 2022, paragraph 1 used to say method of purchase, all cash sale. And it said all cash sale reserves the right to pay in cash or reserves the right to get a loan or so forth and so on. Anyway, for 2023, it now states method of purchase. And I'm just going to read this to you. Paragraph A, all cash purchase. Buyer has sufficient liquid assets to purchase the property in this transaction for all cash. The buyer has no right to unilaterally extend the closing date for 8 days for reasons of mortgage lender delay. Notwithstanding the above, the buyer shall have the right to extend the closing date for 8 days if the closing attorney is not ready, except if the basis for the closing attorney's delay is related to a mortgage lender delay. That's all stated in option 1 under method of purchase. Option B, A. Option B under method of purchase is finance purchase with no financing contingency. So the buyer is completely disclosing to the seller, I am getting a loan, but I'm just not making my deal contingent upon me getting the loan. So what this option says, finance purchase with no financing contingency. Buyer intends to obtain mortgage financing to pay for all or a portion of the sales price of the property, provided, however, this agreement shall not be subject to any financing contingency. Even though the buyer is obtaining a mortgage loan, the buyer has no right to unilaterally extend the closing date for 8 days for reasons of mortgage lender delay. Notwithstanding the above, the buyer shall have the right to extend the closing for 8 days if the closing attorney is not ready, except if the basis for the closing attorney to not be ready due to or related to the mortgage delay. So the seller is completely aware of where the funds are coming from. They've taken out, in 2022, there was a reference to a non-institutional mortgage, which was basically a buyer getting a hard money loan or a short-term non-institutional loan. You would still use this exhibit for that. And for you buyers agents working with investors or anybody that's getting a hard money loan, you would use this exhibit, no financing exhibit, F401, and you would choose under one method of purchase, option B, because they are still getting a mortgage loan. They're just not making the deal contingent upon that. The only additional change in this exhibit is under the paragraph for verification of funds. It's still, buyer and seller still negotiate a time frame within which the buyer must prove proof of funds to the seller, and it's X number of days from the binding agreement date. And it says the buyer shall be obligated to provide or cause to be provided to the seller. So sometimes this proof of funds was not coming directly from the buyer, but the obligation is still from the buyer or the buyer's side of the deal. The only other addition that they made, well, two other additions in this section under verification of funds. They did reference that the funds are in US dollars, and they did reference that if the method of payment, if the method of purchase is financed, so a buyer is getting a loan, they're just not making the deal contingent upon the loan, then in the next paragraph under verification of funds, it says if option 1B, which is the getting a loan, getting financed, but just not making it contingent, if option 1B is selected above, a loan commitment letter from a mortgage lender is required. That's about it for the renamed and reworked a little bit cash exhibit. I need to stop saying that. The non-financing contingency exhibit. And again, just so everybody is on the same page, and the seller may make an informed consented decision regarding which offer to take, and the buyer may fully disclose the source of the money they are using to buy the buyer's house, regardless if they are making that or in light of not making their deal contingent upon them getting that. In other words, as I've already said repeatedly, the buyer is getting financed. but they are willing to risk their earnest money should they not get the loan, because these buyers are pretty confident they're going to get the loan. Thank you guys so much for watching. Dana Sparks, Director of Real Estate Academy of America and qualifying broker of Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realtors, satisfying your needs with service, innovation, and education. Bye. If you like that video, check out the one here. If you like the content on this entire channel, please click here to subscribe. I try to take even the most complicated of real estate situations and make them crystal clear. See what I did there? Real estate made crystal clear. Thank you guys so much for watching.